Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. So glad that you joined tonight. I want to just welcome you to this free webinar, just really to learn how to cope with the estranged relationships with your adult children, because I just want to empower you tonight. And so let's dive in. Again, just want to welcome also those that are going to be watching this on replay. So I want to respect your time tonight. And so let's dive right in. For those of you that are new here to me and are not familiar with me, my name is Sally Harris, and I am a mom who walked this difficult road with my own daughter for over a decade. And if you've watched my YouTube videos, you know that when her life spiraled, so did mine. And so that's why I do what I do. So more on me later about my story. But for right now, I just want to celebrate you for joining and for coming to this event, because I know it very possibly could be very outside of your own comfort zone. But I know that you obviously are very open-minded or you wouldn't be here. So some people have asked, am I on camera? And the answer is no, you're not. As you can see, there's the chat and you can interact with each other there. There will be Q&A at the end, so feel free to jot your questions in the chat, either save them and type them in later or as we go, and they will be pinned for me to answer at the end. So let's dive in. For all of you here tonight, you're on this journey, and I'm really curious to know where you're at in this journey, because some of you are just beginning, right? Some of you, and first of all, there is no right or wrong answer here. I'm just really curious because regardless of where you are, you're in the right place. And I just want I want to know, are you newly estranged? Is this something new? Tell me in the chat. Is this you just in the beginning, or are you in that messy middle? I know a lot of you that's where you're at, because maybe you've been struggling for a while now. And then, or maybe you have a glimpse of reconciliation and things appear to maybe be getting a little bit better. And so the thing is here is you can thrive in spite of all of this, in spite of all of what is going on around you. So regardless, like I said, regardless of where you are, exactly, messy middle, yeah, 100%. I feel like I lived there for a very long time. And so I can definitely relate to that. So I want you to take a look at these emotions here on the screen. And these are so common for moms. And I want to know, just take a look. And how many of these do you suffer with, right? Do you deal with regret and anger and rejection and helplessness? All of these things, because I know I personally suffered with all of them and probably more. These are very common that the moms that I serve, that I get to work with in my group coaching, et cetera, that they talk about these things. These are the things we talk about. These are so important to work through. So if you have other emotions that you would add to this, I would love to hear that in the chat as well. But this is a great way for other moms to realize, you know what, in real time, I'm not alone in this hurt. And that's why you're here, because it's so important that you know you're not alone. So I'm curious to know what you think your future could look like without all of those emotions, without those negative emotions. What could your life look like? And so I just want to share just a couple quick minutes and just share my story a little bit, just some highlights for those of you that are new to me. I was you, which is why I can relate to you. And I am that mom that walked that tough road, right, in so many ways. So I'm going to share a few blasts from the past here for you. So here's a few pictures from the past. And as I was preparing this, I thought, these weren't all at my very lowest point, because I can guarantee that I have no pictures of my very lowest point. But this was close. And I also noticed, I may be smiling in these photos, but other than this third one where I have my granddaughter's face scratched out, I don't think the smiles were very genuine. And I'm sure you can relate to that, where you're just kind of going along. But it isn't about that. It's not about what you, it isn't about my weight. It isn't about, what you see, because although I had gained 70 pounds here, so for me, it was a big deal, but that's not what this is about. These pictures, I want you to see is I want you to notice about what you don't see. I want you to notice that you don't see depression, because I have a fake smile on there for you, right? You don't see anxiety. You don't see addiction to alcohol. You don't see anger and guilt and regret and all those things that were in that previous slide. Suicidal, all of these things. In the midst of we kind of go through our life and act like everything's okay. I just want to let you know that, I too was overcome with fear. And so I didn't see a way out. And I thought I was the only one going through this with my daughter. I thought I was the only one. And like many of you are probably feeling that way too. And I personally was someone who had to have control over everything because I had no control over myself. I lost complete control of everything. But I had to learn that about myself and I had to make changes. So I look at this girl now and it does bring tears to my eyes sometimes because I just thank God that I don't know her anymore and that I have come so far. And I know you guys can do the exact same thing. So, I went through periods of estrangement with my daughter, and there were times where I honestly didn't know if she was dead or alive. And I had to process through that day by day. So much so that I actually, probably around the time of this middle photo, I had actually gone to a funeral home to find out what I needed to do when I got that call on her. So if that doesn't teach us the importance of needing to control our thoughts, I don't know what does. And so some of you probably have zillions of stories like that you could share. And so I'm really glad you're here. So I just want you to know that there's not much I haven't experienced in this journey. I am not a therapist. I'm a coach, and I'm just honored that you're here tonight. So before we get started, I just want to mention quick that my daughter did write a letter for you that I will read at the end. There will never be a day, she's amazing, and there will never be a day where I am not grateful for our restoration. And I want you to know that also that I prayed for all of you prior to this tonight. I do have a strong faith, and I prayed over all of you, your children, and your family restoration that will happen in the near future. And so I'm holding strong for that for you. So I know it's difficult, but I can hold that hope for you when you can't. Okay, let's dive in. So there's three main reasons. There's many, but these are big ones. These are three reasons why moms struggle. And it's unrealistic expectations, lack of support, and emotional investment. So I'm going to give you some real world examples here in unrealistic expectations. So I've got some examples here for you of actual clients that I've had. Names are changed for privacy, but let's just say Jane. When I worked with Jane, she had an adult son who had been struggling with substances. And I know a lot of you are dealing with that as well. And so she felt this guilt and self-blame, believing that she should have been able to prevent her son's challenges. And of course, she sees other families appearing perfectly happy, right? Kind of like the smile, appearing perfectly happy. And then that comparison in her mind, it just intensifies, her inadequacy feelings. So, she overcame the challenge because she had to acknowledge that she can't control her adult child's choices. So when she realized she couldn't change her son's choices is when she started to heal. And why I think that is so important is because we have to realize the limitation of our control. And we talk about this a lot, but I don't think we could talk about it enough because it takes a while to really sink in, to really realize. But it allows you to free yourself from undue guilt and emotional burden. And then it enables you to focus on supporting your child when appropriate, right? When you need to, when you can, but also respecting yourself in order to have boundaries and promote, your own healthy, mental health. Because when you have these unrealistic expectations, we lose ourselves in that whole process. Secondly, here is the lack of support. And this client had a daughter, an estranged daughter, who she'd been dealing with the pain of estrangement with her, and her friends and family didn't understand the situation, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. I know I sure can. So she felt isolated, very isolated, had no one to talk to. So she shared her feelings super openly. And so she was able to overcome the challenge by seeking out my group coaching program, where she could connect with other moms who had similar situations. And so, support is so crucial. And I always say, we're not meant to do life alone, but especially during a situation like this, you can't go through this alone. You should not go through this alone. And I always say too, whether it's with me or someone else, you need to find a community because you need to have a safe place to land. But when you do find that community, you have that sense of support and you get just a safe place to share struggles. And then you find your own resilience again. So that was great with Lisa. And then number 3 of those, the emotional investment. So Karen, she has an adult daughter who chose a different life path than what mom had envisioned. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that too. The mom, Karen, was always super invested in success and tying her own sense of fulfillment into her daughter, which a lot of moms do. And it's like her achievements are my achievements kind of a thing. And so overcoming challenges like that are meant to, she ended up learning, the understanding that her daughter's choices do not diminish Karen's worth as a mother or as a woman, right? Just because her daughter didn't take this path that she had lined out in her head and what that was supposed to look like. So why is that important? Because your self-worth is not solely dependent on your son or daughter's decisions, right? There's so much more to you than being a mom. And when we're able to see that and get off that emotional roller coaster, things start to become a little bit more clear. And so that when she's able to do that, then she could love her daughter, more unconditionally and let her pursue whatever passion she wanted, while mom could still be there for her. And then their relationship, reunited. So that was great to see too. All right. So coping starts with acceptance. And some of you may say, well, I don't want to accept what's going on right now. And I get it. I didn't either. But we have to be able to work through understanding. Then we need skill development, and then we need to apply it. And those are 3 really big things because we have to, in situations as a mom, when you're dealing with challenging circumstances and challenging emotions, and we're on high alert all the time, we're in this fight or flight, I want you to remember that acceptance doesn't mean giving up. And acceptance doesn't mean that you agree with the situation or what has happened, but it's acknowledgement about the reality of where we are today. Doesn't mean there's not hope for tomorrow, but we have to have acknowledgement for today. And so education plays a crucial role in coping in several ways because we have to understand the situation, right? So we can learn all these things to help us have knowledge about the situation and some potential outcomes and what other people have gone through and have conversations with people. That can help reduce fear. It can help reduce uncertainty because you're going to see that other families did have success in this. Is that 100% guaranteed that the same is going to be for you? Of course not. I can't guarantee that. But who's to say that it can't? And so our thoughts are very powerful. Understanding our emotions. We have to have education about our emotions and our mental health. We talk a lot about our kids' mental health, and a lot of you think and feel that, there's some things going on with your children. We also need to take a look at how are we handling our stress, right? Because this is very likely one of the biggest stressors of your life. And so all of those are super important. Everything from, understanding your feelings and not completely ignoring them, but accepting what they are in the moment, and it helps you cope with them moving forward. So skill development is all about the coping strategies, the communication skills, creating boundaries, stopping enabling. Am I hitting some words for you? Overcoming fear, embarrassment, guilt. There's just so many of them where so many of you are struggling in being able to cope in these areas. And so you need that skill development, because that is going to provide more, a direct path for you to heal, which in turn can heal your part of the relationship. So if you do have any communication with your child, when you start to cope and you start to get these skills and you start to apply them, then your side of the equations is getting healed, and the rest is up to them. But regardless of what happens in the situation, you're going to be healed. So that is just super important. And then, of course, practical application, it's all of the above, right? We learn and then we need to implement, just like in anything else. Okay, so understanding defiance and estrangement. Why is this important? Well, I feel it's important because the underlying reasons behind defiance, and some of you can probably relate, even if you think back to when your kids were teenagers or maybe even younger, but they can become very unruly, disrespectful behavior, all of this. So that's defiance, right? That and estrangement. We need empathetic communication when possible. And some of you might say, well, my child won't even talk to me, right? And I get that. But for those of you that are in communication, and for those of you that aren't, for when you do reconcile with your daughter or your son, you may not know the reason behind the defiance until you're through it. Like that whole rearview mirror thing, right? Hindsight is 20/20. They may be struggling with unresolved issues from the past, whether it be physical, mental health, unmet expectations, family issues, all of these things. And you may think you know what's going on, but you might not. And so we need to try to understand as best we can, but then accept the fact that we may not know until the future, right? So recognizing these things helps you do approach conversations when you have that opportunity. You are going to approach those with more compassion and avoiding confrontation, because that's not serving anyone. I always say, don't match their energy. If your son or daughter is, real volatile and very disrespectful, the conversation's over, in my opinion. If they want to come back and be calm, then absolutely have that conversation, but don't match their energy. Don't match that heightened energy. So in a respectful way, right? So like I said, you might be saying, I don't know how this happened. I don't know how we got here. This is me. And I completely understand how you feel, because I was there too. But trying to just understand the pieces of it can help you in the future. So navigating your emotions, why is that important? We have to navigate our emotions or we will go downhill very quickly, because it all starts here. It starts in our mind. So your emotions also validate your experiences. So if you suppress all your emotions, if you fight through all the anger, if you fight through the sadness and try to be strong all the time and just don't ever let anything out, your body's going to keep score. Your muscles are going to keep score. Your body is going to be so heightened and you will be sick. And I'm sure some of you can attest to the fact that it doesn't take long to start getting headaches or stomach aches, right? Or back pain, all of these things. It's just super important that you validate your experiences, and it's okay. You just don't stay there, right? If you have this guilt over this relationship, all of these things can also lead to self-reflection. And when you start identifying patterns in your own behavior or beliefs that contribute to whether it's guilt or enabling, all of these things, you can build a healthier emotional state by identifying your own patterns. Again, there's two people in this equation, you and your child in this case. You only have control over you. And so you have to navigate your emotions. And if you have the ability and to be able to offer to help them to get help if needed, absolutely. I 100% agree with that if you're able to do that. Unfortunately, a lot of times they say no for now. But again, we have to accept that. But if you I can promise you, if you start numbing those emotions, it will destroy your life. Trust me. That's what alcohol did to me. And it started with the emotions, turned physical issues. I numbed it with pain. I was doing all the wrong things, which is why I'm able to tell you that you can turn that around if that is you. It's never too late. It's never too late to turn it around. And actually, this navigating emotions reminds me of Ginger, who is a client of mine. She wasn't prepared. She says that she wasn't prepared to navigate this whole experience. Like, who is, right? None of us are. And let's be honest, right? But I was able to help her gain control of her emotions and consider her reactions. You notice how she said her reactions, not her daughter or son, but her. And helped her communicate better. And it was a true honor and blessing to be able to help her as well. All right, self-care and resilience building is super important as well. Prioritizing that self-care and the resilience building ensures that you, as a mom, have the emotional strength to face challenges, because it helps you maintain your well-being, again, taking care of the person that you have control over, which allows you to approach different situations in life with a clearer mind. Clearer, not clear, right? It's not perfect. It's not perfection, because you're going to have job issues. You're going to have other family issues. You're going to have other things in life that come up that you have to deal with in the middle of this. So instead of bombarding yourself with, you already have this stress. And then if you start to have other things in life that come on board, it's a lot. It's too much. And so you have to start being able to take care of yourself in the process. And actually, that reminds me of JP. She has truly turned her life around. I worked with her. She shifted her focus to her own physical and mental and emotional well-being. And she truly did. And so now she's taking care of herself. And she even added that things haven't always changed 100% in her relationship with her daughter, but she has changed. So, and I hear that a lot from moms, because we can't guarantee that the relationship's gonna come back together tomorrow. And your child may not change right now, but you can. And so that is your choice, completely your choice. All right. Rebuilding trust and connection. Is anyone having connection issues? I'm not sure there. It's okay. All right. Rebuilding trust is super duper important, right? Because that is safety. That is openness in other relationships, because it's really easy to shut down with everybody during this time, because right now you want to isolate and you really probably don't trust a whole lot of people. And that's normal, which is why I think it's so important to have that connection with either one-on-one or group with people that are in the same situation, where you're not going to be judged, because that is how you rebuild trust. Going out into the world trying to expect other people who haven't been through this to understand what you're going through doesn't work. And I'm sure most of you can relate to that, because we've all had our stories about what that looked like. But we need to create an environment also when you rebuild trust, not only for yourself, but eventually with your child, with your son or daughter. We want to be able to work towards that reconciliation and understanding reasons why the trust was broken in the past, right? So that connection is going to take time, but it's going to likely broken due to misunderstandings or something had happened, but there needs to be some honesty with that and just some honest conversations, really. So being able to share your perspective and knowing that, remember, your perspective and their perspective of the same situation can be completely different. And one's not right or wrong. It just is what it is. So that is just part of relationships. So redefining your identity and purpose is also very important, because so many of you don't know an identity outside of being a mom. And redefining that and building that out is super important for your own personal growth moving forward, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, etc. But it allows you personally to reclaim your own life and pursue things maybe that you loved in the past, maybe things that you want to try for the first time, but something beyond parenting. Like we we talk about this a lot, right? We know that we just go all in, like we have these babies or we adopt them. Either way, like we just love these children and we nurture them and we are with them every waking moment and we take care of them. And that's becomes our identity. And then when they grow up, even if there is not issues, with their behavior and all of that, so a lot of moms have a really hard time with their identity after that. So finding things that can rebuild all of that for you is super important. So when you start doing all these things I mentioned, you're going to start getting results like this. You're going to start feeling happier. You're going to find gratitude. You're going to have hope in life. You're going to have more self-love and forgiveness and empowerment and all of these things. And it's just so super important. All right. So can I just be really honest with you? Every single one of you here, whether we've met or not, I haven't been able to follow the chat quite yet, but you are all at a fork in the road with your own life. And to be honest, some of you need to get off the fence. You have to decide, are you going to live in this struggle? Because this situation with your son or daughter has depleted you. And it's not fair to you. It's not fair to the rest of your family, your loved ones, for you to sit in that pit. So there's no judgment here. This is talk about tough love. This is tough love because I was in that place and I needed somebody to grab my hand and pull me up because I wasn't going to do it by myself. Right. And this is not something I read from a book. I've read a lot of books about this, but this is real life. This is real life experience. And after working with hundreds of moms like you, I have a great understanding of what holds you back. I know the things that hold you back. I know the things that are keeping you stuck. And so I am offering you a lifeline. Like I said, that hand to pull you out of the pit of despair. Because just like in anything in life, you can keep doing what you're doing, continuing to struggle by yourself, which I have a feeling might not be working, right? Or you wouldn't be here. But there's no shame in asking for help. In fact, that's strength, in my opinion, right? Alone, we struggle, but in community, we have strength. And so you can do that, or you can choose to partner with me and let me walk this road with you and help you regain your own life and come out of this stronger than when you went in. If I can just tell you that I am a much stronger person now in so many ways than I ever was in my life. It's because hard times make warriors. And I know that by now, from everything that we've talked about, you are believing and you are seeing that this is possible for you too. This isn't just Sally. This isn't just for me. This can be for you too. This is meant for all of us. We are not meant to go through this life alone. So lots of information. And you're probably wondering, okay, great. How the heck do I do this? Like, how do I get this transformation that you're talking about? Well, we talked about how it starts with education. It starts with an emotional investment. We have to decide up here, right? And redefining your own identity as a woman, not just a mom, and tackling all those things that keep holding you back. So if you're ready to go from struggle to strength, then that's how I can help you. And I just want to share with you, I have a course called the Struggle to Strength course, and I'm going to break it down in a couple slides here for you. So don't worry about this one. It's kind of laid out here for you, but I want to share with you what's included in this. So as far as practicality, there's 4 live calls. We're going to be on Zoom. We're going to have 4 live sessions where you get to ask all your questions about all of the modules the work that you do. You get to bring all your questions. Okay. In real time, you're going to be able to get feedback. There's also the free Facebook group included. It's private group just for the people that are in the course this time around. So in between our live calls, you can talk to me and the other moms in the group. So that is another great benefit. So you are really never alone. You have support basically 24/7 for the whole time we're in the course. How many of you are in need of healing? Because I know that a nurturing environment where you can say what's on your heart. You can ask the hard questions without feeling guilty or feeling judged. And you can connect with other moms and learn and share and all of these things. You're going to learn so much about your child in this course, but you're going to learn so much more about yourself, which is what makes me so excited about it, because it's called Struggle to Strength for a reason, right? We're struggling. We need to get stronger. We need to get that education. So that is what's included. And then lastly, here is this, like I said, it's 6 modules. So it's a 6-week course. There's 3 to 5 sessions each week. And there's video, there's written content, there's self-reflective questions. I don't want to overwhelm you with this right now, but there's also action steps. So you have lifetime access to this. You have lifetime access to the course. You can go back at any time. But it's an opportunity for you to be able to take those tangible steps moving forward. That's what I believe you need, right? Because heck, that's what I needed. But I always say, I didn't have a Sally. I didn't have a Sally at my fingertips. That's why God has me doing this now, is because there aren't a whole lot of people out there to help moms. And like I said before, you're not meant to do life alone ever. But with this being the most difficult season of your life, why would you do it alone? Why would you go through it alone and make it longer than it has to be when you could be healed in a much faster way? So I just want to share quickly just a few testimonials from these 2 moms were in my course this last time around. This is Amy. She's an amazing woman who dove right in and changed her life. And she really has focused on what changes she could make herself and help herself. And she was amazing to serve. And then also we have Sherry. Sherry was amazing. She needed the disrespect to stop in her household, and she learned how to do that. It empowered her, helped her to focus on herself as well, and her life was put on hold. But these 2 moms dove right in, and so super proud of both of them. So what is this investment to your journey here? So like I said, 4 live calls with Q&A. Get your questions answered. You've got the Facebook group. It's $497. There is also a payment plan available. So if that's something that you need, you absolutely have that opportunity. We are starting on November 1st. So we've got just a couple weeks before we start. So that's exciting. And so also I just want to add on there, if you purchase by midnight tonight, you'll receive a free one-on-one session with me, a 30-minute session. This is only for you here tonight because you're here showing up for yourself. And I'm just super proud of you. And so I honor you by giving you this. And we can schedule that during the course. We can schedule it after. I'll be in touch with you on that. Whatever is best for you is totally fine. And I want to read this letter from my daughter. Let me grab this. All right, this letter is to you, moms. All right. Dear moms, I am writing you a quick letter to let you know that although you may feel like you are all alone and there is nothing that is going to make your situation better, you have got to take care of yourself. To be honest, when I was living an unhealthy, dangerous, and disconnected lifestyle, I had no idea how it affected my family, especially my mom. It wasn't until after I came home that I truly understood how my decisions affected more than just me. I tell you this because although you may be feeling that your child is doing this out of spite or to hurt you, in most circumstances, that is not actually the case. After learning that my mom had let herself go and allowed alcohol to control her life for so many years, I felt horrible. Not because her decisions were my fault, as we cannot control anyone but ourselves, but because my mom loves me so much. And I knew that my actions had hurt her to the point where she didn't know how else to cope. My mom has come such a long way. And the best part is she was working on herself, getting healthy physically and emotionally before I decided to do the same. That is the best thing she could have ever done. I was in prison when my mom started working on herself, and hearing the change in her voice, the feeling that she wasn't dependent on wanting to fix me, that she couldn't live her life without me made me want to come home. Maybe call it reverse psychology, but when she didn't need to obsess over my situation anymore, that made me want to change and live a life that is healthy, safe, and connected with my family. That is by far the best decision I've ever made in my life, as we have never been closer as a family. Remember, this took 10 years to happen. So don't lose hope, but I hope you see the importance of working on yourself, as you can only control you, and you will never be able to control your adult child. Getting their life together is a decision that they have to make for themselves, and it will have nothing to do with the fact that you want them to do it. I am excited that you are all here taking a step towards wanting more for yourself. Don't stop now. I pray that one day you will have a story similar to my mom, and it's where you can know that your willingness to change made it that much easier for your child to do the same. I hope this motivated you at least a little bit. Love, Holly. Oh, that was a tough one to read, guys. But are you ready? Because it's time for you. It's your turn. It's your turn. So if you want to sign up for the course, the link is right there on the screen, and I will take a look at these Q&A. All right. Kimberly says, I see my 3 estranged daughters at special family events. Sometimes they are more than cordial, other times not so much. How do I not pretend this behavior is not okay? I feel like I'm enabling poor behavior by trying to be a strong and calm parent. Interesting, Kimberly. You know, it's one of those things where, I mean, I obviously don't know your situation, so it's hard to say exactly, but it sounds like if they are cordial one time and then not the next, is, you know, to maybe ask yourself, is there a reason? What is happening? What is the environment? Who's around? You know, who's in the room? Is there a reason why they're doing that? And have you asked them that? Have you tried to have a conversation outside of the family gatherings? I guess I would do that first. But a lot of times we do need to take a look and see if there is anything on our part first. When you say you're enabling poor behavior, yeah, and the course talks a lot about enabling physical, emotional behaviors. But at the same time, it's interesting that they're still attending. They're still attending the family events, which is pretty cool. I am sorry that they're not always cordial, but I would try to have that conversation with them on the outside. All right, Brenda, contact is always initiated by me and my daughter doesn't make contact. Do I keep it going or am I wrong by taking a break and let her call me? Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it, Brenda? A lot of moms that I work with, depending on the situation, if there's any disrespect involved, things like that, that's when a lot of times moms will, you know, really take a look at, do they need to take a pause? Do they need to take a break? Are they being disrespectful? I also, if there is no disrespect, I guess I would be curious why she doesn't ever make contact, but yet she, if it's initiated by you, she does answer the phone. So that's interesting. I would try to have a real honest conversation and see what's going on there. Again, that is definitely, that's a situation that a lot of moms deal with. And there could be a million reasons why. But for right now, I'm grateful that she does allow you to have contact, as long as she's being respectful, right? All right, Kathy. Whoops. Okay, good, Kathy. My oldest daughter is sort of obsessive and controlling. She will talk to me, but there's an obvious lack of emotion concern for me. She's now trying to plan for the holidays between me and her fiance's family. She's proposed a trip to New York, but for me to go, it mean I'd have to change my year-end vacation days. She's not willing to bend, but expects me to. Not sure what to do. My thoughts are good. Yeah. you have to take care of yourself in the process. So if that's not something you are wanting to do, then maybe this isn't the time for the get together, right? Maybe you guys can celebrate the holiday another time. But if you already had plans and it's truly not something you want to change, there's give and take in every relationship. But if it's kind of one of those things where she just has this expectation on you and she's not willing to do her part at all, or even be respectful about it, you need to make that decision on how to move forward with that. And there's a lot of that is judgment, right? We're worried about judgment. We're worried about guilt because there's really an underlying behavior, right? So resentment, right? All of these things are covered in the course. I have hit on almost every emotion, every type of behavior that we could deal with in estrangement or any type of defiant relationship with our children. All right. What is the next question? Jennifer? Has anyone had to block them for their out of control behavior? I don't know if any other moms posted in the reply to that, Jennifer, but absolutely that happens a lot. I have a lot of moms in my group that have to do that. So that is really taking care of yourself. You have got to figure out what are those things, how is it affecting you? And there's manipulation involved there. There's disrespect if they're being out of control. And you needing to take care, and that could even involve some mom guilt that you need to work through. So there's a lot of things that could be happening there. So again, the course literally covers all of that. And also communication, which is a huge one. Communication is probably one of the biggest pieces that we need to work through, each and every one of us. All right. Robin says, my son has scammed us. He's bipolar and has anger management issues, but also has a loving side. We've stopped enabling him, but my husband wants to prosecute. My fear of prison is tearing me apart. That is a personal decision, right, Robin? I guess depends on the severity of what happened, right? And without knowing all the details, obviously, I really can't say. But if it was me in the very beginning of that, first of all, you need to take care of yourself. Regardless of what happens there, the events still happen. Regardless what happens to your son, if your husband prosecutes or doesn't prosecute, I'm assuming it must be something big if you're fearing prison. But if he truly is bipolar and he has mental health issues, I would make an agreement that he needs to be. You could even do something where he has to at least see a counselor. And be in some courses or get some wellness for himself. And so to help him for his own future. So that's a tough one. All right. And then Kimberly said, I send birthday gifts to my one daughter and she doesn't thank me for it. Not sure if I should continue to send them. Doesn't feel right to stop when I give gifts to her sisters. Yeah. You're just feeling very disrespected, right? If you don't even get a thank you, because when things are just expected of you, then resentment sets in. And so, yeah, you can continue to send them with no expectations because, that's the biggest thing. Expectations is a huge one. That's another a topic that moms need to work through. If we can do something without having the expectation of a response, then go ahead and do it. And it's not going to hurt your heart to the point where you can't function. Kind of like for holidays and birthdays and all these things, moms will say, do I contact them? Or do I send a gift? Or what do I do? You have to do it knowing that you don't have the expectation. If you can do that, absolutely go right ahead. But if not, if it's going to be harder for you emotionally, then I wouldn't do it. And that's not selfish. All right. Do I have any other questions here that I missed? I think we got them all. All right. Well, thank you all so very much. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see you in the course. If you have any questions you need clarified or anything like that, feel free to send an email just to Sally@sallyharris.com, or the link for the course is right there. But I just want to thank you again for your time. I know it's a Friday night, and I'm just really grateful that you are investing in yourself. And I'm just honored to be a part of it. Take care. I'll see you next time.